What's up, folks?
Hello there.
This is Dirk and Bjorn, and let's answer your questions, shall we?
Yes.
All right, maybe we should start with some of the printouts we have here.
Let's have a look here.
Oh, here we go. There's some questions. Hyped about the new record? Yes, we are. Coming out tomorrow, indeed.
Yeah, I can't believe it. Feels like we just came out of the studio. And that was, when was that? We finished up the record in late May, I guess.
Yeah, I forced you back into the studio early June.
Did. Yeah, you did. You actually did. That's why I feel so fresh.
Yeah, so maybe we'll answer some questions here. So we have Priscilla Diaz, who asked about lyrics. How did you feel during the process of writing and sharing some of the roots and deepest thoughts? So that's one for you, sir, since you wrote a lot of lyrics.
Yes. Well, this new record is definitely really special. I'm sure some of you guys have read some of our interviews that we've done, that we went through a pretty rough time in the studio. We had 4 deaths within our families during the recording, and my 94-year-old grandma passed away during the recording, so that definitely affected me in a lot of ways when I recorded the vocals, and also obviously the lyrics. It's really special to experience death this close. It was pretty rough. I think lyrics would have been pretty existential and pretty dark in general, regardless of these tragic events. But it definitely put a little spin on the whole thing. So it, as hard as it was going through all of that while recording an album, I think it made it feel more real, and I was able to channel all my emotions into the vocal recording, and also the lyrics, even though most of the lyrics were done before the recording.
Yes. I saw somebody asking if I speak Swedish, and I guess I still only
You understand a lot of Swedish. You do.
Well, if you say so, but I can't really speak it though. Just a few key words.
You can read it pretty well, right?
Yeah, some parts. Yeah, I try. I'll sit down with Close-Up magazine and I try to understand what they're writing about.
Right.
Anyways, so Ryan Barr asked, why the RIDE Majestic title? Why not the Majestic Ride or something totally different?
Well, we did talk about that in the beginning, I guess, the Majestic Ride. It just, I don't know, it didn't really feel right. I guess you could say that the RIDE Majestic sounds more poetic. It just sounds better and looks better and feels better, I guess.
Yes, I agree. It was just kind of what felt right to us, I think.
Yeah.
So there's Mathieu Vaillant is asking, how does it feel to reach your 10th album as a band? Well,
that is pretty crazy, for sure. I mean, we started out in 95 or 96 and released our first album in 98. So yeah, it's really hard to grasp. I think I'm really proud of how we developed as songwriters, for sure, during all those years, and this being our 10th album, it's pretty crazy. And I'm just really proud that there's still so much energy. It's energetic music, that we managed to put together.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you ever think about that you're going to be possibly doing 10 albums when you start out. You're
Definitely
just kind of like, happy to do one album at first. So, yeah, it's amazing to be where we're at right now. Hopefully 10 more. We'll see.
Yeah, I guess so.
Any plans to come to South America with In Flames? Well, definitely plans to come to South America.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it will be with In Flames, but I mean, there's definitely plans in the making about South America. 2016,
guys, for all our South American fans who have been waiting for us for many, many years. Next year is going to be the year, I can tell you that.
Yep.
We do come to the merch stand sometimes. I can't see the person's name who asked that, but yeah, just you know, come and meet us there after the show. We usually try to hang out, and at least some of us, if we have the energy.
Just buy me a beer. I'll be there.
Yeah, exactly. How is it, guys, that you use less and less keyboards in your songs? I don't think we do.
No, I think there's actually more, and that's one of those things. I think Sven is really, you know, tasteful with his keyboards, and it's pretty funny how we sometimes fight about like I want the keyboards to be louder and he wants them to be lower. So that's a pretty funny scenario. But trust me, if we took away the keyboards, you would have noticed. So I don't think there's less keyboards actually. It's just more. Yeah. There's a lot of things going on, for sure.
I think Sven just likes to be in that supportive role where he completes the music rather than being in the front the whole time or even part of the time. I think he likes to be, you know, where he is. And so people are saying, yeah, we want the keyboards to be louder, but Sven doesn't, and hey, he's the keyboard boss.
We could release a keyboard like edition of the album. That could be, you know.
Special keys edition.
Yes.
Yeah, sounds good. The Phantom, yes, I wish you could talk about the new songs. Yeah, sure. Let's talk about them. The Phantom. A lot of people seem to enjoy that song. It's definitely a bit of a, you know, it has the old school vibe to it. I felt that instantly when.
For sure, it has almost like a mid-90s Scandinavian death metal scene feel to it.
Yeah. It's a fun one to play.
Yeah. I would think we'll try that one out live.
Yes. We'll give it a shot in rehearsal and see what happens. Oh man, these questions are going so fast. I'm not keeping up.
I know.
You guys are fast, dude. Let's see. Writing process in Soilwork. Well, yeah, we can talk about that a little bit. Well, Bjorn and David wrote a majority of the songs on the RIDE MAJESTIC, as they did on the Living Infinite, and then Sylvain wrote a few songs. I wrote one song, which is on the Japanese version of the album. Sven didn't write any songs this time.
No, but he usually
writes a few.
Yeah.
He did write some on the Living Infinite, but basically we always start out each on our own, and then we trade files and we bounce back and forth with ideas. We work on them in our home studio. Like Bjorn will send me a song and I'll put drums on it in my home studio. I send it back to him with maybe some new ideas, and maybe I'll change the structure or the tempo, or sometimes he'll be like, yeah, this is cool. And sometimes like, that doesn't really work. So we really just bounce it off each other, and then before going in the studio, we get together usually in the rehearsal room for at least a week.
Do a little jamming.
10 days. Yeah, and arrange the details together.
Yeah.
And,
well, I mean, we're so used to this now because we, live spread out all over the world pretty much. So
yeah,
we found a way to make it work. So.
Yeah, it's pretty much the only way for us.
Yeah.
But it's comfortable. I mean, I enjoy working that way, personally.
Yeah.
Your favorite cover song done by another metal band, and what song would you like to do as a cover? I'm not a big covers fan, personally, so.
Oh, I came up with this cover not too long ago, and now I can't remember it. I found the perfect cover.
Oh, yeah.
Damn it! Yep.
You're gonna have to convince me.
Yeah.
But I do think Typo Negative is like one of my favorite bands to do covers, because they really turn. No, I mean when they do a cover, they really turn a song, any song, into a Typo Negative song. Like they'll make Santana sound like Typo Negative, or you know, like anything they've covered. Really, I think that's awesome. Robert, no, I haven't really. I mean, I've tried Gravity Blast occasionally, but I haven't really focused on them. So no, I haven't really plunged into that domain. Maybe someday.
So, what is your favorite type of venue? Small, large? I mean, it all depends. It's just a matter of the vibe and the crowd, and I don't know. It's. I mean, I personally. Excuse me, love doing festivals. I mean, it can be really cool, like a huge stage, for example, back in what there's like, I don't know, 50,000 people. That's definitely a special feeling, but it can be just as rewarding playing a really small venue, for sure.
Yeah. So the intimacy and the contact with the crowd in a small venue is something I really enjoy. And, it's you got the interaction up close when you really feel the crowd. It's really very energizing to me.
Yeah.
The sound on Sworn to a Great Divide. Split Angus is asking about that. Well, you know, that was kind of I don't know. I don't know. A conflicted period within the band where I think different people wanted the band to go in different directions, and I think that ultimately kind of played out in the way it was produced and the way it was.
Yeah, it was a little bit of an experiment, I guess.
Done
production
right.
wise, yeah.
I mean, it's not horrible, but it could have definitely been a lot better. And it's sometimes you have to try something new, and it doesn't always work out. So. Was it your decision to change the song structures? We really just get a feel for how things are, and it really depends on every song.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, it's better to for us, we always go for the feeling rather than just thinking about what's right or wrong. It's just kind of given for the moment, to use an old cliche, but that's really what it is. We never really discuss, how should this new album sound, or what should we avoid, or it's just, I think we have a really playful approach in general to the songwriting, and being a bit more spontaneous and go for the feeling rather than just like, okay, we need an intro, then we need a verse, okay, what about a bridge, and then okay, here's the chorus. It maybe used to be like that a little bit, but then again, I don't think we really discussed it, but I feel we have a more interesting approach to songwriting nowadays.
Yeah,
it doesn't feel forced.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think we're all really open to each other's input too. So, somebody might come with an idea and then someone else might totally change it. Or, for example, the second song on the album, A Light in the Aftermath, was basically just a 9 or 10 minute riff fest when Sylvain came with it.
Yeah.
And then I kind of turned that into a song structure, and I said, hey, what do you guys think about this? And then Bjorn and David liked it, and Sylvain was like, yeah, that's actually really cool. And, so it can really happen in any way. It's whatever we feel. There's no rules.
Yeah.
A lot of people are asking about the tours. So again, I'll say it one more time. We'll definitely come to South America next year. That's definitely in the works. As for the other tours, we have the Soulfly, Decapitated and Shattered Sun in North America this fall, and then a short European run after that with Hate Sphere in late November throughout December. But we'll definitely come back to both North America and Europe after that, probably in 2016, and we'll go to the countries that aren't on the current tour plans.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be a world tour.
Yes. So
sure.
If you're not seeing your city on the upcoming tours, don't stress out. We'll do our best to come and see you in 2016. Let's see
here. Somebody is obsessed with the pre-chorus on the Phantom. Yeah, I'm pretty happy about that one, so I'm glad you like it as well.
It's a good one.
Hard to say exactly what inspired it, but it almost has like a melancholic ABBA feel to it somehow. So yeah, I don't know, ABBA. I don't know.
That's great.
Yeah.
Unexpected. Any chance of a new Turn 2000 album?
I don't know. I mean, it was, I don't know. Let Sleeping Dogs Lie, I feel a little bit. But, I mean, that last album that we recorded, Terror for Sale, it was pretty fun. It's kind of hard to top that one, but who knows? We'll see. Guys, what's your favorite upcoming band? I think we have a great tip there. Cronus.
Yes.
From Helsingborg. They're not signed yet, but they will be, and they're definitely a very promising young band from our hometown.
Yes. Very, very cool.
Yeah.
And their guitarist Svante actually filled in a few shows with us recently for when Dr. David could not join us, and did an amazing job. And he's only 21 years old, so that gives you a little bit of an idea about how good they are. He killed it. Yeah. Let's see, how do you guys reason about recording digital analog? Well, I guess nowadays if you want to record analog, you really have to search that out. Most studios have some kind of digital equipment or all digital. So I'm a big fan of analog recordings, but it's not something that we've specifically sought out. So maybe someday.
It's a pretty personal question here. Death in General, if that's about my grandma, and it is. It really is. I'm really proud of the lyric, and it was a great way for me to channel my emotions at the time, and I think it turned out to be a fantastic song in general.
Yes.
In general. Yeah.
Absolutely. What's your opinion of the current state of metal and selling albums and illegal downloads, etc.? Well, you know, that's a tough situation. I mean, we would be lying if we would say that we're not affected by that, as are pretty much all bands. And so luckily metal fans are usually overall pretty loyal and still buy albums and come to shows and support bands, because I think people do realize that, you know, if there's not going to be any fan support and people just take the music for free, then bands ultimately will not be able to continue, because there is a financial reality that sets in when it becomes a full-time job, pretty much as it is for us, you know.
Yeah.
And so of course people can download the songs and check them out. But if you really like them, and if you know, that's not just for Soilwork, if you really like what you're hearing, then you should support the band in some way.
Yeah, and come to the shows.
Yes, absolutely. Does the whole composing, recording, touring process give you as much fun as it did 10 or 20 years ago? Yeah, I would say even more so, actually.
Yeah.
Me. You grow into it, right?
Yeah, definitely do. It's I mean, it's that kind of, when you start out, you have that primal aggression, writing songs, and you just put riffs on top of each other, and you don't really think about it. But I think it takes time. Like we've been growing up with this band pretty much, so you obviously grow on a personal level as well, and I think that reflects on the music. So it is fun, you know, still.
Yes.
I think you can hear it.
Yeah, exactly. I absolutely agree. Do you have a favorite Soilwork song that you feel is underrated?
Well, there's a couple of bonus tracks. Like, I think that Martyr from Sworn to Great Divide, I mean, that ended up as a bonus, and I mean, with a better production, that song has a lot of potential. I think it's a great song.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites.
Maybe we should re-record it someday.
Possibly.
How old were you when you started playing drums? I was about 15, if I remember correctly, and I played on an old secondhand jazz kit. So yeah, that's how I started out. Does Dirk like Gamble Dance? I don't drink it.
So many people want to see the chest tattoo. Okay, yeah, there it is. So there it is. Represent. Happy now? Also, does Dirk like Gamble Dance?
Well, I do like it. I think it tastes great, actually, but I don't drink alcohol, so I stepped off the alcohol train some years ago, and now my voice is going out. Whoa, it's blowing up here. What song do we enjoy playing the most live? Yeah, which one do you enjoy playing most live?
I think Spectrum of Eternity is such a challenge vocally, and some nights when it's super hot on stage, it might not be that much fun, but normally it's a really cool song, you know, if I manage to pull it off, because it's really, you know, it's a tough one. For sure.
I can say the same on drums, for sure. But my favorite to play still is probably, you know, a toss-up between Stabbing the Drama and Let This River Flow, because those are all the songs we just really have the groove for now. So
yeah, that is true.
I love how together we are on those songs.
Yeah, and I do want to bring the Crestfallen back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we're going to work on that.
Yeah.
What do we feel about other Swedish melodic death metal bands?
I think
I love them, man.
Yeah, I mean, the scene is way more diverse today than, you know, the mid '90s, where most of the bands were sounding, you know, very similar with the rise of melodic death metal. Today, I mean, In Flames have their sound, Dark Tranquillity have their sound, we have our sound, and, you know, At the Gates, they're back, you know, 20 years later with a great album. So I think it's way more diverse and way more interesting.
Absolutely.
For Belgian beers and alcohol, it's water.
That's I don't know if that's a good comment on Belgian beer or a bad one.
Yeah, I don't know.
With your 10th album coming, how do you keep your riffs and lyrics fresh? Well, I mean, it's hard. I think we really challenge each other musically. You know, yeah.
I think it's there's that nerve. We know that we're capable of trading just about anything.
Yeah.
But we kind of, you know, push each other a little bit. You know, we communicate really well through music, I think. So it's hard to put our fingers exactly on what it is.
What it is, yeah. We feed off of each other basically, and I think there are so many different influences musically in the band that you know, it's there's always something fresh and new happening. Somebody asked about the alternative influences on albums like Stabbing and Figure Number 5. So, what do you think about that, Bjorn?
Well, I mean, they're pretty mid-tempo oriented albums, and more kind of groove based and straightforward. And I think that, you know, especially mid 2000s, that's you know, where we were at the time. And you know, for example, I mean, Peter always liked writing more straightforward structured songs, which he did really well. And I think one of the reasons, I think we talked about this before, but you know, when you came into the band, and then later Sylvain and David, they brought some of that progressive touch to it, and David brought some of those like melancholic melodies that we kind of, you know, lost along the way a little bit, because I feel we had those in the beginning of our career as well. So
it's just kind of an up and down. It's a flow, and
it all makes sense. And I'm really proud of each and every album. So it's not like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, Figure Number 5 was like my favorite album back in the day, and then I got the call to go on tour with you guys. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what? So you know, it's a different album, but it's great. And no, Stabbing the Drama was not an identity crisis at all. I mean, I think, you know, it was definitely, Peter was a little bit on the outs with the band, but I still think that album has classic songs on it.
For sure. And if possible, good one.
Great track, yeah.
Thanks for reminding us.
We should try playing that one day. If Sven wants to play it. He wrote it, so again, he'll have the final say on that one. You can't force Sven. Enter Dog of Pavlov. Yeah, we've played it once.
In Finland.
Yeah. And we might actually bring it back on these next tours. We're thinking of overhauling our whole set list on these coming tours, guys. So you know, we have had, actually, I saw somebody ask earlier if there was a chance about fans choosing the songs, and we have done that one time too.
And they chose the songs that we were already playing like for at least 10 years.
That was the funny thing, that the top 10, there were like 2 songs that were kind of surprising, and all the rest was stuff that was already
like Stabbing the Drama, number 1.
Yeah. So I think we're just gonna choose our own crazy tracks this time. And we made a big list, and we're gonna kind of play around with them in rehearsal and see what happens.
Yeah.
What do we think about the loudness war? Kevin Dillon is asking.
The what?
The loudness war. Yeah, he's probably talking about, I'm assuming, about how stuff is over compressed nowadays, and CDs just are made to be super loud.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan when it's super compressed.
No.
It just, music just dies somehow. It just sounds dead to me.
Yeah, it's a bit of a pointless thing, you know. I think it comes kind of from people being like, oh, if they put it on and they leave the volume the same level they usually have it at, but it's louder, it's like, oh, that's a great sound. And it's like,
because it's supposed to sound more convincing. And it might sound more convincing in the beginning, but then when you realize, you know, that it just, it's too much of a mess.
Yeah. Once you compress stuff too much, you eat up all the dynamics, so there's really no point to doing that. Connor is asking, who are some of their biggest influences? Oh man, there are so many. I mean,
growing up and when we started the band, I was really influenced by, you know, Swedish death metal, Entomb, Dismember, but also Dissection came out with an album named Storm of the Light's Bane. That was one of my, you know, the biggest albums for me growing up, and it really inspired me. But there's a lot of them.
I mean, it's a continuous thing. We're always listening to music, and you know, to plenty of different styles too. And you can really hear that, I think, on RIDE Majestic. We're really trying to push the kind of like what melodic death metal is about, because we incorporate things from all these different styles. Like, I mean, Bjorn and David listen to so many different things. Sven and I, the same thing. I mean, we listen to a lot of electronic music and ambient stuff that's completely removed from metal music, and Sylvain's the same. I mean, we all, you know, so it's a big mishmash, and in the end, we do know what Soilwork is about, so we managed to kind of blend those things in, and that's what keeps it fun, in my opinion. if we all just listened to Swedish death metal, it would be pretty boring by now.
Yeah. Sometimes
Even though it is great, but
sometimes you just need a little bit of Fleetwood Mac. Okay.
yes, or what is it, Simon and Garfunkel playing black metal?
Yeah, like in Enemies Infidelity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love that description.
Yeah. Okay.
If you could make your own tour, what bands would you include? Oh, that's quick for me. I'll take like Napalm Death and maybe Gore Guts and I don't know, some other awesome bands. I mean,
Godflesh.
Godflesh. Yes, Decapitated are on our coming US tour, and I love that band. So really stoked to be
for sure.
with them. They're amazing. Let's see. When we're gonna have a show in Stockholm again?
You missed it because of school. What a bummer.
Well, definitely next year. We're definitely gonna play a bunch of shows in Sweden next year, and Finland and Norway. We'll definitely do a Scandinavian trek, so no worries about that. How do we go forward after something as grandiose as The Living Infinite? Thank you, sir. I don't know. I mean, we kind of felt like it would be cheesy to do another double album. We discussed it briefly, but then we were like, no.
Yeah, even a triple album.
Yeah.
For a while there. But
then it just turns into a gimmick. I mean, it was a heartfelt thing to do a double album. I think it came from a good place, and we didn't want to ruin
we shouldn't push our luck, I
No.
guess, too much. But
maybe the next time around it would have totally sucked.
Yeah. But I think it was a great experiment for us, to find new ways of expressing ourselves. I think we rediscovered ourselves as songwriters through that album, and kind of took it with us for this new record, for sure.
Exactly. I think it really showed us that it's okay for us to experiment, and that in the end, I mean, it's amazing. Like, we can pretty much throw anything at Bjorn, and then he sings on it, and then it sounds like Soilwork. We have to, I mean, it's true. You're so recognizable, and your voice is so, like,
Well, thank you, sir.
No, it's true. So now we joke about that all the time. We'll be like, let's throw this at Bjorn and see what happens. And then, it sounds like Soilwork. It's amazing.
Yeah, but that's what I need, challenge.
Yeah. Best crowd we've seen so far. Ooh, that's a tough one. Man, I don't even know. It's so hard to say. I mean, a big show like when we opened for Metallica in Madrid in 2000, that was of course awesome and memorable. But there's been like Hellfest, there's been Grass Pop.
Yeah, Hellfest was.
Yeah, and there's been so many. Roskilde in Denmark a few years ago was mind blowing. And then there's just small shows, small clubs. I mean, there's been clubs that we played years ago where there were like 300 people and the place was packed and it was insane. So
I think Melbourne was a really good one as well last time.
Yeah, there's a great question about bonus songs.
Yeah,
that's not a label decision. We decide that. Basically, we just decide all together about, I mean, usually Bjorn and I will put a track list together, and then we'll bounce it off the other guys and see if they're okay with it, and then we'll sometimes change things around. But we usually decide, what the bonus tracks are based on just how we feel, what works best. Sometimes it's just a song that maybe doesn't fit as well with the others. It's not necessarily a song that's less good. It's just maybe it doesn't fit the flow of the album as well, or we can't really find a spot for it. Yeah. So, I don't know.
Svulstiga.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, bombastic, pretty much. I guess they are bombastic in a sense, but I don't know if I would use the word svulstiga.
The right bombastic?
Atmosphäriska, possibly.
There you go.
Yeah.
Do we have plans to make some covers? I don't know, like I said earlier, if Bjorn convinces me of a good song to cover, then maybe...
Yeah, I need to do some more thinking. Needs to be something special.
Yes. Who's my favorite drummer? Dave Lombardo. Story behind the Pittsburgh Syndrome.
Oh yeah, sorry, we forgot to mention that. That was a special show, for sure.
Yes, yes.
Well, basically that was a day in Pittsburgh that didn't start too well. It was pretty chaotic for various reasons, and we were not feeling good at all, feeling kind of shitty, and then the show turned out to be one of the best on the, well, probably the best show on the tour, and I don't know. I guess I didn't really expect that from Pittsburgh. I'm sorry, but you really brought it So yeah, that's obviously the reason why we named that song the Pittsburgh Syndrome. How we managed to turn that day around with the help from you guys. So thank you.
All right, let's pick up a few more from here. Let's see. Yeah. Stephen Miller was asking how we keep coming up with new, fresh, solid material without sounding like our older albums. So.
Well, I just think in general we've been pretty brave and not, even though we had two really big albums in 2000s, Natural Born Chaos and then Stabbing the Drama, we didn't really make it into like a safe bet and try to recreate those records. And I don't think we ever can though, because I think we always need to kind of develop our music, but we're not forcing it for sure.
I mean, there's no point in trying to recreate something in the past. An album is a moment in time, really, and it's whatever exists back then. If you try to just do that again, it's not gonna turn out as good. It's gonna be a disappointment anyway. I hate to say that too, but for bands who like re-record their first album and stuff, I've listened to many of those because I'll be a fan of the original, and then you listen back to it, they're like, yeah, it's cool, but
it's not.
You always end up preferring the original, so. So there's no point. We just move ahead. We're just thinking, about now and not about the past. If you want to hear those old albums, just play them, or come see us live. Maybe we'll play some songs.
Yeah.
Is there animosity between you and Peter Witchers? No, actually.
No, there isn't. For a while, we didn't really talk that much, and we're slowly reconnecting. But it was a rough time. Peter jumping off the band and then coming back again, and then jumping off. Again in 2011. Yeah. 10. So it was a pretty rough patch, but we're reconnecting again. So
yes, I mean he's a great guy and a great friend, and I think it wasn't an easy thing for him to not have Soilwork because it was also his baby. I mean, you and him started the band together, and
it must have been a really hard decision.
Yes.
For sure. So it's.
Do any of the guys have day jobs? Well, we have the infamous Dr. Dave.
Oh, the doctor. Yeah, he's a practicing doctor in Stockholm.
And then I guess Marcus, our new bass player, works at the arena in Helsingborg, right?
Yeah.
But that's about it. The rest of us are full-time music. And what do we think about the gent genre?
Not a fan.
No, personally, I mean,
of course, there's great bands out there, but it's nothing that I would, listen to, sit down and listen to in headphones, or it doesn't really hit me.
Yeah, for me, it's Meshuggah, and then that's it.
Yeah, exactly. I would agree with you.
Meshuggah is absolutely amazing, one of my favorite bands, and then unfortunately, too many of the bands that I've heard are just pale copies, so. I understand it. The same thing happened, I guess, with death metal and black metal when we were younger. So, it's a natural process. But personally, I'm not super into it. We actually met Drop from RIDE last week in Geneva when we played Octopod Festival. He was there. That was after I think you had left already, but he was there, and it's true that he did some awesome remixes of songs from Stabbing the Drama. So. Maybe at some point we'll send him a new track to have fun with. Yeah. It would be great. Man, the questions are flying. Yes, we're going to have some videos. They're currently in the works, so they'll be here soon.
Yep.
How much of the musical, I love this question from Cody Hutchinson, how much of the musical creation process is influenced by fan opinion, past or present, when writing new music? That's a good question.
It is. It's a very good question. It's really hard to say. It's nothing that I really think about when I write something. I always go for the picture that the riffs or the melodies generates in my head, and if it's something that I like. And of course, sometimes I think what inspires me as well is probably if you picture playing the song live, I think.
Yeah, that is a big part, for sure.
But it would be really hard to just, write songs and have fans' opinions in consideration. I don't think I can, course, I do care, you know, what people think. Obviously, you want the confirmation that, you know, in a way that you want to connect with the fans, you know, that they kind of see the same pictures or different pictures for that matter that they enjoy from the music.
Yeah, I mean, I think we know what Soilwork is, and you know what would fit and what doesn't fit. The only thing is that, yeah, like you said, I mean, I agree. When you write music, you can't really worry about what someone else is going to think about it.
No, and it's going to shine through, you know, really. If you start caring too much about that and it becomes too much of a business machine, I don't think, you know, this will work out for sure.
Yeah, sincerity is key. You know, you can only do what you feel. And that people will feel that enthusiasm and that energy if it comes from the heart instead of from, you know, oh, trying to please this person or that person.
Yeah.
So, do you like recreational drugs? Great question. Actually, Bjorn and I are both pretty straight edge when it comes to drugs.
Yeah.
So no.
No, not a fan.
I mean, we don't hate them, but we just don't do them.
Right.
What song are you proud of writing the most? Good one.
I want to bring up Death in General again, because I feel it's just an overall fantastic song with a really cool atmosphere.
Agreed.
And yeah, I would love to record a video for that one, so I guess we'll see.
Yes, we're going to try and do that. I'm trying to follow the questions here. Man, there are so many. Are you guys, oh yeah, that's the one I saw. Are you guys getting a full set with Soulfly? Well, I mean, we're going to get, you know, what is it, a 45-minute set, I think?
Yeah,
So we're going to try and cram 10 songs in there. That's the plan. So probably Bjorn will just speak like, and then we'll go into the next song.
There will be no talking during tonight's performance.
No. If you would have to play a whole album at a single gig, what would that album be? Oh, let's do The Living Infinite, shall we? It's only 20 songs.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, people are really interested about where we live. So, where do you live, Bjorn?
I don't know. I live in part-time Canada, part-time Sweden. It's complicated.
I live in Los Angeles currently, so a little ways away. Jonathan Blomberg asked about the lyrics and what's the source of inspiration for the lyrics, books, own experiences, etc. So,
I wish I did. Like, I like the idea of reading books, but I really don't. I hope I don't make you disappointed. But I don't read a lot of books. I just, you know, what inspires me is really, you know, feelings in everyday life and you know, what you see, what you feel, and where you've been and where you are right now. And yeah, it's really, it's hard to explain. But I think when you're in a band for 20 years, I think, you know, going through that journey, I think it will reflect on the music and the lyrics as well. Sure.
Yes.
And no, there's no animosity towards Olaf Link. We will miss the hell out of the guy for sure, because he was a big part of Soilwork and will always be. But he came to a point where he felt that he needed to step down and have somewhat of a normal life and routines. And I think routines especially are really important to him. And I mean, I can relate to it. Being on tour as much as we are, it's hard to find routines, and the older you get, the more important, like, you know, it's in the end. So
definitely, it's a very you know, there's a lot of sacrifices involved with being in a band at the level that we're at, even though we're not Metallica, but you know, we spend the majority of our time working somehow on the band or being on the road, and that's not easy. It's not for everybody, and some people, including Ola, get tired of it, you know. And I respect that absolutely. How was the writing process for Enemy's Infidelity? Well, that's interesting because that's actually a song that, to me, I have a lot of feelings about that song. When I recorded it, it was the one song that I wasn't quite sure how I felt about my drums on it.
Right.
And I remember you and David were in the studio at that time, and you were kind of telling me, try this, try that. And so I tried a bunch of stuff, and then in the end, I was kind of like, I'm just gonna let you guys judge it.
I know
I'm not
it's
quite
hard
sure.
to not get frustrated in the end.
No, I mean, it's just the point of like you kind of lose track of what it's gonna be like, and then the song actually really evolved a lot after I did my drums.
Yeah,
because a lot of the guitar riffs evolved into something different, and then it ended up being like one of my favorite songs on the album, and I think one of the most unique tracks that Soilwork has ever done. So it's pretty cool how that can happen sometimes. Like something you don't necessarily expect that much of turns out to be like, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Matthew Perry.
Which member brought in the heavy blues breakdowns, Million Flame, Needle Feast, etc.? Who's the heavy blues guy?
Oh, who's the heavy blues guy? I think, I think Peter had a lot of influences from blues or bluesier classic rock, and the same thing with Olaf Rein, I think. And I think at a very early stage in our career, I think that was a big part of it, and I think it still is today. It has, it has that nice mix of melancholy and bluesy riffs that makes it pretty unique, because only a few other bands in this genre has those kind of influences. I would say, even though we're a metal band, it's in there. It all comes from blues.
Yep, we're not afraid to put that in our songs either. So I like that a lot.
And David is doing a lot of slide guitar on the new
album
as well, which is really cool.
Really cool new element, and some EBO. There's quite some EBO on the RIDE Majestic as well.
I shave my head every day, pretty much. Give me an endorsement, please. Somebody.
Get him a personal head shaver.
Yeah.
Quickly. Thoughts on industrial metal? Bands like Fear Factory, Cybrid. I don't know the third band there, Mechina. I don't know them, but I used to be a big Fear Factory fan back in the early days. Haven't really followed them that much since then, but they definitely brought a new thing to the table. That was, I think, influenced a lot of people, both with the vocal styling and with the rhythmical styling, and great band. Cybrid, well, I played with them, so of course I like them, but I think that they're a very underrated band. It's a shame they're not around anymore. Judas Priest.
Judas Priest.
Yes, they definitely were an influence, right?
Yeah, for sure. I guess I got into Priest pretty late, I would say, like beginning of the 90s. At least that's kind of late for me. But it's definitely in there somewhere. I was very influenced by Rob Halford as well, and his kind of like stage persona. And it was so metal, it was crazy, and still is. So yeah, that definitely had an impact on me as well.
Yes. Death in general, will we play it live? Right now we're still kind of discussing, and we're gonna have to just play the songs together in the rehearsal room and maybe try some of them on stage and see what feels right. Some songs are just album songs, and we've had songs that we really were like, we have to play this live, and then we played it, and after X amount of shows, it just didn't feel like it was really working on stage. So it's hard to pinpoint that until you've kind of experimented with that. And so yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Why only 2 singles? Well, it was a bit of a rush, the whole release, because we were late. The album recording ran late because of all the things that happened, the personal stuff, and then at the same time, the album release got moved ahead a couple of weeks, pretty much last minute. So it was tough to get everything together, and I think it's cool. 2 singles is good. People will check out the rest of the album these days, I guess. Hopefully, go and buy it. What else do you think European bands are making superior material than American bands? That's a good question. I don't know.
I wouldn't say so, and I think it's interesting nowadays that it's really crossing over, because it used to be like certain bands were, in the metal genre were more popular in North America, for example, and it was. And is different in Europe as well, but now I think it's crossing over a lot better. I think it's possible for European bands to become a lot bigger in the States and vice versa. So I think it's pretty similar.
Yeah, I think the world's become definitely more, kind of one place because of the internet, and you can see that all over. I mean, it's so easily not so easy nowadays to be influenced by something that's, you know, completely from another part of the planet. You can instantly have access to it, and you know, that's definitely a change. Do you think your future music will be, I guess, comparable to the RIDE Majestic? We don't know, man. I mean, it really depends.
I don't have the slightest clue.
No.
It's going to be interesting.
Yes,
for
yes.
sure.
I intend to. My plan right now is to bring a bunch of stuff to the table for the next album. I've been writing a little bit progressively, but it's been one song here and there. But so I'll see, you know. But in the end, it's all going to be a band's decision. I mean, we come up with a bunch of stuff, and then in the end, what everybody feels good about is what ends up on the album. So, I mean, honestly, even when we're making an album, it's kind of a surprise to see how it's going to turn out. You never really know until it's finished. So. It's always an adventure.
For sure. What's your favorite non-metal band? I would probably say Fleetwood Mac, actually.
And I'm gonna say Prince, because he's like an influence from when I was a kid. So still a big fan, especially a lot of the older material. Okay, let's see if there's something else here. Why doesn't Sven ever do interviews?
Well, me and Sven went on a little promo tour in Europe for Stabbing the Drama, and we did a lot of interviews together. And he's a very intelligent man, and
Yes.
full of surprises for sure. And yeah, I don't know. He should do more interviews.
Yeah, he just told us one day, I think it was shortly after the Stabbing the Drama promo run, and he said, guys, I don't want to do press anymore. So we're like, okay. Do I have huge calves?
Ginormous.
Ginormous.
Yeah.
They're so big, man. It's so hard to find pants that fit. I have to answer this Jens Bogren question.
Yeah.
As you all know, or maybe some of you know, Jens is our
Big calves
producer.
means-
Yeah, who has the biggest schnabel in the band, and why?
Yeah. And why?
Who does?
Why you have big schnabel?
Why? It's not like we sit there in the tour bus and compare sizes, but you know.
Well, you have big calves, so I guess that means they have big
Yeah,
schnabel.
I'll admit.
Yeah.
I'll admit. It's me. All right.
Yeah.
Great question, Jens. Would Soilwork ever tour with the Night Flight Orchestra?
I would love to. I mean, it's a totally different story there. It's a band I have together with David on the side. It sounds classic rock, late 70s, early 80s, and it also features Charlie D'Angelo from Arch Enemy. So it would be. It's kind of. I'm all for kind of diverse touring packages, but that would be that would be a little bit odd. But I mean, I would like to do a lot more shows with Night Flight whenever we have time, because it has really become a vacation band, you know,
Yeah.
when we don't do Soilwork.
I think the biggest problem would be if Night Flight opened for Soilwork. Dr. Dave and Bjorn would probably be completely pooped by the time it was time to play with Soilwork.
Yeah.
It would
that
be
would
such
have
a
been
party on
very well
stage.
done.
They would probably lay down during the Soilwork.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see, what else do we have here? Oh yeah, this is a great question, I think, about Tongue, a song on the Living Infinite. Jan said you play this wonderful atmospheric jazzy progressive break, but then it seems that you don't allow yourselves to fool around some more. Why don't you dare to play more progressive elements? Well, I agree, actually. I think that break in Tongue is really fun. It's a lot of fun to play that live. There's a lot of improvisation happening there, at least for me on drums. I can always do something different there, and sometimes it works, sometimes not so much, but you know, it's a great little thing, and I think we should have more of that. Hopefully, you know, we can incorporate some freestyle passages.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about giving the song what it deserves in the end. You know, it's not a matter of like, oh look, we need to be really technical here and force something, and
Right.
we can't force it, but right there and then I mean, perfect.
Yes.
And I still really love that part as well, even though I'm not into that much of like fusion style music, I guess. But yeah, it's definitely a cool part.
Well, the other day we were playing in, where was it? I can't remember, one of the festivals we did. Oh, something came up. Computer crash. No. And yeah, Dr. David was playing some Fusion, and Sylvain and I were listening to it, you know, and kind of enjoying it. And he was like, "Sylvain, Dirk, we should do a Fusion project." So that's in the works now.
Go ahead, as long as it's not Soilwork. No, good music is good music. I don't care what it is. But yeah, normally I wouldn't really.
Absolutely, divorce chord, divorce metal.
I don't know. I can't remember if it was me or Dave, because we were talking about like how we were influenced by Swedish depressing TV shows from the early '90s, and then that usually has a lot of divorces like in them, and just
a lot of lawsuits.
A lot of lawsuits, and I don't know. It was just a drunken night. I guess we changed it into divorce chord, just sounded more interesting than melodic death metal, I guess. Sorry about that. Sorry.
Here's a question for you, Bjorn. Let's see, what things have you done throughout your career to be such a great singer? That's Zach Woolsey asking that.
A lot of touring, I guess. I haven't really been doing that much like vocal coaching. I took some vocal lessons back in 2001, and that's about it. And I have been practicing a lot on my own to different types of music, but I think it's really been the touring that has done it for me. And it's also about confidence as well. When I started out adding clean vocals to Soilwork, I was not very confident, and I think looking back, listening to a Predator's Portrait, I can tell that I'm not very confident. But it takes time, and I think I've been just experimenting a lot with vocals, and I think you can hear that on both Living Infinite and the new one. There's a lot of different types of singing. It's not just cleans or screams. There's so much in between.
Yeah, I mean, I think you really push yourself with every album.
Yeah.
I mean, every time, because I always record my drums first, and then when I hear the finished album, with all the vocals on it, which most of them I never hear demos of or anything.
Right.
I'm always blown away by all the stuff you're
making. Yeah, it's gonna be pretty
like,
interesting once it's done.
Yeah. So I think it's all about kind of pushing yourself to the limit every time. I do the same on drums. I always try to do stuff that I can hardly do.
Yeah, and that's how you
Yeah, that's how you get better, really.
For sure.
Yeah. Is your guilty dream winning a Grammy, or is that a useless piece of award? I love that question.
That is pretty funny. Yeah.
I don't know, man. I mean, it doesn't really matter.
No, I mean, obviously, I wouldn't cry
if
I got a Grammy, but it's kind of hard to say what a Grammy means today. But
yeah. Would you play at my wedding? If you get married at Grasstop, maybe.
Yeah. Would you marry each other?
I mean, I guess we're kind of married to each other. We spend some years we spend more time together than with our significant other. So
yeah, that is true.
That's the fate of being in a band. Ryan James Dean asked, how do you guys find time in your busy schedule to teach and do session work?
Well, there will be, downtime sooner or later. You usually do maybe like an album cycle that is maybe like 2 years.
Yeah.
And then you usually have some time off, and coming home and not doing anything is pretty hard, I would say. So it's good to have some kind of routines. So.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, it's also a matter of survival, I mean, the thing in being in a band is that no matter how hard you're working all the time, there's not always a constant flow of money coming in either. So to be honest, for me, that's also part of my motivation why I keep doing session work and teaching. Of course, I love doing both those things, and I would do them no matter what, but it does help us, make it through the times when there's downtime in Soilwork. For example, when we're writing an album, we're not touring, we're not making any money. So that's the time when we have to do other things for those of us who don't have day jobs like David does, to kind of keep going. So it's important.
Yeah.
All right. What else have we got here? Sorry, just looking at some. Is there a process to picking a set list, and are there songs or albums you avoid for any reason?
Well, I guess it's been hard to kind of fit Sworn to Great Divide in there, songs from that album. We did play one song, As the Sleeper Awakes, for the DVD, but that's probably the only album that we've been, sort of straying away from a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's also a different thing to play the songs live. And I think As the Sleeper Awakes, we played that for a while, and 20 More Miles, I think. Also,
it was a great live song.
Yeah, so that's also a song that we maybe could.
And Pittsburgh Syndrome. Whenever we hit Pittsburgh, we always pull that one out.
Yeah.
But it gets harder, of course, now that we have 10 albums to choose from, which is probably, I don't know, over 100 songs probably at least, and so it's like you kind of have to trust your gut with that, because you're not going to please everybody. And we try to. That's why we at least decided to completely change it up this time, and hopefully, the rehearsals will go to the point where we're happy with some of the choices. But we can always fall back on some of the songs that we know work. But it would be kind of exciting for us ourselves too to play some stuff we haven't played in a while.
Yeah.
So that's what we're aiming to do. Potatoes. Have you ever thought of making a song in Swedish? Well, we have, right? There's been.
Well, yeah, we did. Kvicksilver.
Yes.
Mercury Shadow, Japanese bonus track.
Yeah.
For NBC.
Yes, exactly, Alex. But the thing is that maybe one day you'll do some more.
Yeah.
Of that, right?
Yeah, I would like
throw
to.
some Belgian words in there too.
Yeah.
And Sylvain could have some French bridge somewhere.
Imagine, yeah, we should. That would be interesting.
I was disappointed with the set list on the DVD. Well, I mean, that's the thing. You can't please everybody, and sorry to hear that. But for us, that was a pretty solid representation of where we're at nowadays. And of course, every person is going to have their opinion about that, just like every person has their own opinion about a song or an album. And in the end, we can only be true to ourselves, and that's what we try to be. That's how it goes. When are you bringing Grand Failure Anthem to a live set? It can be done.
It can be done.
Well, it's on our list of stuff that we're working on. So
have we played it live before?
No.
I think we. No, you sure?
Well, according to what Peter told me back in the day, he said.
I think we played in Japan once.
Oh, you did?
And that was it.
Okay.
Maybe there was a reason for that. I don't know.
Probably. There are quite a few songs that we played like once or twice, and then like nope. But we're gonna try it, because I think it's a great song. We need to play it, so let's make it happen. How was it performing with Floor?
Really cool. She's a fantastic singer. And really cool girl, for sure. I first got introduced to her a couple of years back when she asked me to do guest vocals for her band RIDE. And I did that, and for the DVD, I kind of wanted to return the favor and ask her if she wanted to do Let This River Flow with us, and I think that was perfect. She did really good, and she has a really good screaming voice too, for sure. Very powerful.
Yeah, impressive.
Yeah.
What would you guys be doing if Soilwork never happened? Oh man.
I don't know.
I'd still be playing blast beats.
Yeah.
There's no way around it. I don't know what you'd be doing. You'd probably be doing Night Flight Orchestra.
Well, playing hockey, maybe.
Hockey.
Yeah, because that was supposed to be my career. I played hockey, and then that was my main goal to be in the NHL. And then my dad got me a guitar and screwed it all up.
Tried playing hockey with the guitar.
It didn't work out.
Would you have Claudio or Ettore guest vocal on a Soilwork song someday?
Why not? Great musicians and great singers. So, yeah.
Your members are so diverse in nationality. That's a nice way to put it.
Yeah.
Well, Soilwork was originally 100% Swedish, and then Sylvain and I came in and ruined that. So.
Yeah.
But it's still a Swedish band.
Yeah, I mean, that's where it all started, I guess. But
And okay, come on, guys, bring in some questions.
a guitar into a performance. Yes, I would love to see Sven with a guitar. I've been trying to convince him for years.
That's not going to happen.
No.
Good luck with that one. What did you think of At War with Reality? You know, I still haven't heard it other than a few songs. I'm so behind. How is it?
It's good. It's really good, but it doesn't hit you the same way, obviously, because when you were growing up, like, you know, Slaughter of the Soul came out in 95, was it? 96?
I think so.
Yeah,
95,
and obviously it had a different impact because I was, you know, a lot younger back then, and when I heard a new album, I mean, it's very convincing. It's really good, but it's, you know, it's 20 years later, so
yeah,
won't have the same effect. But well done at the gates, fantastic stuff.
Yeah, awesome band. What legendary artist or band, past or present, would you choose to make a song with? It would be cool to have like somebody completely alien to our style of music be a part of it. You know, like I would love to incorporate some electronic influences, kind of like what Drop did on the remixes actually. Yeah. So I guess we've kind of done that. But you know, if we were to do that, I would probably do something completely out of left field personally. Maybe Justin from Godflesh and make like a totally crushing, like industrial sounding song. That could probably work. Actually, the Owls Predict is kind of in that direction a little bit.
Yeah, it has that feel maybe.
Crushing heavy or something. What will you do when you're too old for Soilwork? Like jazz.
Yeah, jazz.
Jazz.
I don't know. I might become a crooner in Vegas. I don't know.
Oh, I can picture it now.
Yeah, yeah. There's actually a video out there of me performing some Sinatra. So,
Happy birthday, Luke. Cheers, man.
Death in General main melody sounds a lot like something out of it.
No, it's true. Yeah, it's but that's kind of why it has such a mystery vibe to it. Big part of the band. Well, she was never in the band. Not that I know of, at least.
No, not so much.
But she's done our photos and you know, she's for some years now, and she's also working on the upcoming music video. So I guess in that sense she's pretty involved. You know, we're happy to have her around. When's Soilwork's disco album going to be released?
Well, there's sort of like a disco song in the new album.
Oh yeah.
As Marcus, our bass player, described as Dracula disco. Like, what is this Dracula disco? When he came into this video, and that's,
which song is that?
That's the RIDE Majestic as Fire Angelic. Dang. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
I love disco and metal. Not gonna lie.
Bjorn's birthday is coming soon. Oh, is it really? Wow.
I'm gonna rehearse and eat a smorgasbord cake. That's what I'm gonna do.
Sounds like a plan.
Maybe some schnapps.
Bjorn, you play guitar. Yes. Bjorn writes
I also play guitar. Yeah.
Bjorn writes a lot of stuff for the albums, guys, especially on the more recent albums. He's written a lot of songs. Amazing guitarist.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I started out as a guitar player, and then I just randomly became a singer, so I kind of shelved the guitar for a bit and focused on vocals, but I picked up the guitar, I don't know, mid-2000s, and I've been becoming a lot better and you know, better at songwriting in general. So I don't know if I could pull it off live, but as far as writing the stuff, it's going pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I guess we're reaching the end here of our fun little chat. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for tuning in and sending your questions, and I hope we didn't miss too many of them. And we'll see you guys. For those who are in New York, you can meet up with us tomorrow night at Duff's in Brooklyn for a listening party at 9 p.m. There will be plenty of drinks. We'll have the RIDE Majestic for you guys to listen to and to buy on CD if you feel like it. And also, if not, we'll see you on tour.
Yeah, it's coming out tomorrow. The RIDE Majestic out tomorrow. You'll get it.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
Cheers.
you.